Wang Mang suddenly thought of something, his face became serious, and he asked in a deep voice, does Asgard have the kind of magician that can possess others, or directly control them remotely? By the way, the other party has a pure black hand. Magic. Regarding the weird magician that appeared on the spaceship, although he didn't show up until the end, and he didn't show obvious malice, it still didn't prevent Wang Mang from being vigilant about the other party. This is not the case in the original plot. Controlling others, as well as runes that make oneself unable to use magic, is obviously a black magic routine. Kamar-Taj's magical inheritance comes from Waishandi, typical white magic, which can be ruled out. Even Kiselius, who will degenerate in the future, has not learned black magic yet. Wang Mang, who has mastered black magic on Earth, knows an Agatha, but his intuition tells him not. After all, since the old witch has set up a game, she will definitely try to seize her power, and Wang Mang has not felt the maliciousness of the other party for the time being. Then, the biggest possibility must come from Asgard. Wang Mang subconsciously ignored a little spy in the family. Thor held his chin for a while, nodded and said, according to what you said, the other party should not be weak, and there are not many people who can do this. My mother can do it. Wang Mang shook his head, and Frigga came to trouble himself before she was so bored. There is also a witch named Lorelei, who is very good at controlling others. Back then, she used her abilities to cause chaos in the 9 realms. No man can resist her orders. Except I, the god of thunder, Thor. Thor threw the hammer proudly. Mjolnir, you can help me resist all foreign temptations. You say your true love is a hammer. Wang Mang complained and shook his head. He definitely knew about that witch, but he was imprisoned in Asgard's dungeon. Even if he escaped, it was impossible. This witch can't control women. Naturally it is impossible to control Minerva, but she will have a high probability of being recruited at that time. Seeing Wang Mang still shaking his head, Thor couldn't help frowning. No? In that case, it's probably only Loki. My mother gave him all the magic, even I don't know how much he has learned. Wait, you don't want to find Loki, do you? Thor was suddenly alert. Wang Mang rolled his eyes, your younger brother is also your treasure. In the future, if you don't say gods hate ghosts, at least it will be one of the most unwelcome lists. Loki? After a series of targets were eliminated, it seemed that he was the only one left, and the green light in Minerva's eyes when he was under control was quite consistent. It's just that Loki ran out. Thor, a serious brother-in-law, couldn't be unaware, and it didn't fit his style of acting. The 3 princesses are the scene people, how could they not even show their faces at the end? Seeing him still shaking his head, Thor couldn't help but wonder. I know, that's all. Otherwise, wait for me to return to Asgard and ask my mother. She is the wisest person in Asgard. Thor goes fast and comes fast. Bifrost is so convenient, it takes less than a day for a round trip, so it can be said that it comes back in the evening after going in the morning. I asked about the mother's side. Sorry, I didn't find any clues. Thor said a little apologetically. In fact, there are still several powerful necromancers in Asgard, but they are completely eligible, and they just left Asgard at that time, and none of them. It was impossible to sneak away, knowing that neither Heimdall nor Odin were aware of the whole Asgard situation. Wang Mang smiled indifferently, in fact he didn't have much hope. However, there is one more thing. Thor's expression became excited. Father asked me to invite you to Asgard. This is the first time Father has asked me to invite a human to Asgard. What? Odin wants to see me. Bifrost, as the name suggests, is a beam like a rainbow, connecting the bridge between heaven and earth. Huge amounts of beams fell from the sky, shrouding Wang Mang and Thor, cutting through the clouds and rushing out of the earth, heading towards the depths of the universe at a speed exceeding the speed of light. Wang Mang felt as if he had entered a wonderful space. The sun, moon, and stars quickly retreated beside him, passing by in a flash. Welcome to Asgard. A tall warrior holding a giant sword and wearing a golden-horned helmet nodded slightly. Heimdall, Asgardian of Bifrost, Asgard the god of door. Dip. Check-in location detected, Bifrost. Dip. Check-in location detected, Odin's throne. D. Check-in location detected, palace treasure. Dip. Check-in location detected, hidden underground room. Dip. Check-in location detected. It should be said, is it worthy of Asgard? There are more check-in locations here than expected. In fact, it is normal to think about it. After all, Asgard is a complete planet. In theory, it belongs to the ruling realm in the 9 realms. It is normal to have many check-in locations. There are several signed on the Earth. Coupled with the small area of Asgard, it is said that the planet is actually bigger than some megacities on the Earth, so the check-in points are densely in the past. This interstellar journey is right. It's just that with so many check-in points, if you want to complete them all. Throne of Odin. Tell Odin directly, you have a good seat for me. Heck, usurping is not so usurping. Palace treasure house. The place where people hide treasures will let you go in as an outsider. In a dream, you are neither Odin's son, nor Odin's son-in-law, so it's too late to guard against him. If you sneak in, the destroyer armor will get to know you, so that your mother doesn't even know it. Hidden underground chamber. As far as he knew, Asgard's basement was the only place where countless skeleton soldiers and Fenrir wolves were hidden. The problem is, not to mention that the entrance is in the palace treasury, the problem is how do you know this place? Could it be Hela's remnant? Looking around, Wang Mang reluctantly found that there seems to be only one location that is easy to sign in. According to Wang Mang's experience, the sign-in reward is usually related to the sign-in location. For example, Black Widow's big white legs correspond to Keelin's arms, Kamar-Taj corresponds to Gandalf's growth template, and the spiritual space of supreme wisdom corresponds to the sage mode, all of which are related. And Bifrost, which is a landmark of Asgard, is strictly a transportation category. Thor said he was very envious, but he already had a portal, and he said he was looking forward to what rewards would be given. Dip. Congratulations to the host for completing the check-in location, Bifrost. Get a reward, fighting Chi into a horse. Battle Chi transformation horse. Active skill, which uses the magic power in the body to condense in the body and transforms into any form, which can be used as a mount or a combat unit. The strength of the magic object is related to its own strength and can exist for a long time. Note. I'm a fighter, and a Dodi is chasing me behind me, but I'm not panicking at all, and I even want to laugh a little bit, because Dodi's horse is slow and he can't catch up with me. Fighting horses? Isn't that the stunt of a certain Shao duty? What's wrong with the system? This thing has a fart connection with Bifrost. Dip. This system is objective and fair, and the old man is not deceived, please do not question. Wang Mang. King, what's the matter? Father is still waiting for us, get on the horse. Thor suddenly patted Wang Mang on the shoulder, making him come back to his senses, staring at the two tall horses in front of him in a daze. I went. Why did I forget that there is a picture of Thor with his friends riding a horse in Bifrost in Thor 1? My good fellow, this disobedient picture, it turns out that even the system can't stand it anymore? Wang Mang glared at Thor fiercely, who didn't know why. Rubbish movies ruin my life. Thor, although sometimes arrogant and bad-tempered, is still very good as a friend. He can die for you, and he can kill people along the network cable for you. Just like now, facing Wang Mang's vicious eyes, he was not angry at all, but worried. What's wrong? Forget it. Let's fight gas into a horse. Look at the skill description, it should be very useful, right? Odin invited Wang Mang, which is no small thing. In the original book, Jane Foster came to Asgard as a possible daughter-in-law and made Odin reject it in every possible way. Later, it happened to encounter such a big event as the invasion of the Dark Elves, so many details naturally did not pay much attention. Wang Mang is different. He is a magician of Kamar-Taj and a disciple of Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. He originally represented Kamar-Taj to a certain extent. Naturally, he cannot make appointments casually. The proper etiquette must be observed. It's a disrespect on both sides. So, under the service of several maids, Wang Mang spent 2 hours changing into a noble gown. Haha, Pharaoh, if I hadn't known you were an earthling, I would have even thought that you were a member of the royal family of Asgard, and would never have thought of being a magician. Thor looked at Wang Mang's burly body, which was no worse than his own, and couldn't help sighing. Wang Mang was also a little unexpected. He originally thought that Asgard was a group of barbarians in the Middle Ages. It turned out that the etiquette of the nobles was not bad at all, but his impression was off. Speaking of which, why did your father invite me to be such a magician of the earth? Wouldn't you have any bad intentions? For example, if you smash the cup, and then a group of knife and axemen pop up in the background. Wang Mang joked that he was still a little puzzled why Odin was looking for him. Screw you. Thor laughed angrily and scolded. My father is the most merciful king in the 9 realms, how could he do such a rude thing? Kindness, that's how Thor describes Odin. In this regard, Wang Mang has reservations. He knows history, but he has to see what Odin is looking for. It's a joke for a knife and axe to serve something. As long as Odin's brain is not damaged, he can't do such mentally retarded behavior, but he has a plan for himself, that's for sure. Under the leadership of the golden armored soldiers, Wang Mang walked into the Golden Hall. The interior of the hall is resplendent, and the walls are covered with various murals, which record the glorious history of Odin's conquest of the 9 kingdoms. Pushing the cup to change the cup, touching the chips staggered, all praise the benevolent king. Only Wang Mang knew that what was painted behind these murals was the real Odin, the one who swept across the 9 realms and made the whole universe tremble, the real emperor. Wang Mang turned his head and looked at the high throne. An old man with white hair and one eye was sitting on it, his left eye was shining with wisdom. Hello, the King of God, His Majesty Odin. Hello, Wang Mang magician. Odin didn't show the arrogance of the superior, after all Wang Mang represented Kamar-Taj. And the real king does not need the so-called sense of ritual to claim his majesty. The king who shouts, "Why don't you kneel when you see the solitary king," is mostly a performance of serenity. After a few chats, Odin suddenly gave Thor a look. What? Thor was stunned. Did the king want to go out by himself? Does he have anything to talk to Wang Mang alone? Thor always thought that Odin found Wang Mang because of his relationship, and now, it seems that he takes himself too seriously. Wouldn't the father really ambushing a group of knife and axemen? Thor's mind is open. Giving Wang Mang a careful look, Thor walked out of the hall with a worried look. Odin's face on the throne twitched fiercely. Neezy, is this kind of person in your eyes? Watching Thor walk out of the main hall, and by the way to the gate, there are only 2 people left in the huge palace who want to be right. If your majesty has anything to discuss with me, just say so. Wang Mang was so uncomfortable with Odin's strange gaze, he finally couldn't help but break the silence. Odin nodded slightly, he looked at Wang Mang with a serious expression, and said word by word, "How much do you know? How much do you know?" Odin said these words calmly, but it shocked Wang Mang's heart. What did he see? Wang Mang resisted the urge to speak and remained silent, and Odin did not ask any further questions. A minute later. Wang Mang didn't speak. 2 minutes later. Still nothing. After 3 minutes. Continue not to speak. I just watched when you couldn't help but take the initiative to speak. K. Odin finally couldn't hold back. Why don't you speak?
Wang Mang pondered for a while, and said seriously, I definitely know it. I see this kind of thing a lot. I just want to understand what I understand, and I won't explain too much if I don't understand. After all, it's good to know it. Don't come and ask me what's wrong, the interests are too involved, it's not good for you or me, just don't know, and the rest I can only say that the water is deep here, and many things are involved.
Stop. What are you talking about? Odin thought about it carefully at first, but after hearing it, he couldn't listen anymore. He had the urge to slap the bastard to death. What the hell? Why does it seem to say anything, yet it seems like nothing is said? Wang Mang rolled his eyes and said angrily, if you want to know anything, just ask directly, I'll decide whether to say it or not. Don't come up like the whole Riddler. UYYGQ I am also YYGQ. He didn't say anything at all, and the sentence, how much do you know, was obviously a test. Are you planning to turn out your underpants from childhood to adulthood? Eat shit. Odin's face turned red and white. This young man doesn't talk about martial arts. He admitted that he did deliberately use such an ambiguous tone, as if everything was under his control, trying to find out if he could find out any secrets. This is also the way to be king. I didn't expect him to be on the 2nd floor, and this one on the opposite side is in the atmosphere. After all, he is a king, and he still has some bearing. I can't think of it, I have always calculated others, and there is a day when I am fooled by the juniors. Ancient One has accepted a good apprentice. He turned to laugh and said, then I won't be dumb, I'll just say. How much do you know about Hela? Hela? Wang Mang was stunned for a moment. Why did Odin look for him? He thought about many reasons, but he never thought that it was because of this Princess Asgard. But the problem is, he has nothing to do with Hela at all, right? Hela. Who is that? Wang Mang said, if you don't explain it clearly, I will always pretend to be confused. Odin's helpless voice sounded. Okay, don't hide it. Knowing about Hela is not a big deal, just don't spread it out. Wang Mang still had an inexplicable expression. Odin couldn't help laughing. You really don't look like Ancient One. Forget it. Let me tell you, the reason why you ask this is because you have already glanced at the fresco several times after entering the hall. Direction. Obviously you know there is something else in there. Just after I said the name Hela just now, you glanced in this direction again. Wang Mang. The old yin is still the old yin, wow, his almost non-existent gestures and expressions can't be concealed from the King of God. Oh, I just remembered, since Odin can observe the entire 9 realms, his observation skills are really first class. Now that he was seen, Wang Mang simply stopped hiding it, and Wang Mang couldn't help but nodded. I do know Hela, Princess Asgard, the goddess of death who has made countless contributions in the war to conquer the 9 realms. However, later because of the disagreement of philosophy, I finally parted ways with your majesty. Only then did Odin close his eyes and ask again, since you know Hela, then do you know all gods, yellow, dark, Ragnarok? I am so familiar. You, Odin, did not act authentically back then, which indirectly led to the tragic human relationship between siblings in the future. Before the time traveled, the whole Earth knew it, okay? Wait. What is Ragnarok doing with Odin's good-natured suggestion that he's still 20 years away? Don't tell me to fight Hela. What an interstellar joke. Don't look at me, I'm not going to hit Hela. Wang Mang was blocked by a word. Ragnarok is almost a barrier that Asgard can't overcome. No matter which version of the legend, it is an apocalypse that almost cuts off civilization. Although this disaster is indeed tragic, but Wang Mang has no ability to change it, not before now. Not only Hela who can't be killed, but also Surta, who is more terrifying than the purple potato essence. The hundreds of meters long twilight sword, Kacha, stabbed Asgard. Power gems are not so efficient, right? From Wang Mang's point of view, asking him to help open a portal to evacuate as many civilians as possible is the limit, and he doesn't want to be tough with Hela or Surta. Take 1,000 steps back. We don't seem to have this friendship yet, do we? Telling you that your son is scrambling to fight, and let me be your savior? I want to eat peaches. What are you thinking? It's not for you to fight Hela. Odin said angrily. I'm not confused enough to think that a half-assed magician will fight against Hela, and your fancy spells will fool Thor. Hela won't eat this. So you're admitting that your family has lost their minds, right? Wang Mang complained silently. Then why are you looking for me? Odin took a deep breath. He found that although this human being was young, he was as stubborn as an old fried dough stick. He didn't have the kind of self-consciousness that the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Hell, aren't middle two young people of this age very self-conscious about this? Odin suddenly changed the conversation. You are a direct disciple of Ancient One. You just entered the school not long ago, right? Wang Mang nodded. Yes. What's wrong? Odin nodded slightly. I can see that your magic, in addition to the inheritance of Waishandi, has some other things mixed in, so your fighting style is quite different from Kamar-Taj's usual magician, isn't it? Wang Mang's eyes narrowed and he said vigilantly, what exactly do you want to say? It is definitely different. After all, his growth template is Gandalf and not Waishandi. There are similarities, and there are definitely differences. The question is, how did Odin see it? To know that the real world is not a game, you can click on the status bar, and what you usually show should not be so obvious, right? Odin shook his head and said, don't worry, everyone has their own secrets. I have no intention of going to the bottom of it. Besides, since I can see it, Ancient One can also see it naturally. She doesn't care. Why should I bother about it? Then why do you say this? Odin pondered for a moment, as if he had made a decision, and suddenly said, the benefits of doing this are obvious. Your strength is much stronger than ordinary magicians, and ordinary enemies treat you as magicians. I am afraid they will. It's a big loss. And it's not without flaws. If I guess right, many of Kamar-Taj's magic tools seem tasteless to you, right? This is a fact. Many of Kamar-Taj's equipment are pure magic amplification, and it seems that it does not match the physical magician of his own style. It seems that there are not many suitable for him. Fatty Wang's dogfighting stick is fine, but Wang Mang thinks it is too low level and it still belongs to the master. Therefore, Wang Mang is now a direct disciple of Ancient One, and he has nothing but a sling ring, a poor group. I had received one of the wands, but it was too brittle, and I never took it again after it was used for smoking someone and broke. This is also impossible. After all, Kamar-Taj is essentially a regular magician organization after all, not for you to fight melee'ly. But, since your majesty said this, do you have any suggestions? Wang Mang probed. Odin smiled lightly. These questions of yours seem normal to Asgard. After all, many magicians in Asgard focus on melee combat, and Frigga has a powerful swordsmanship, even if Thor is essentially a magician. Looking at Wang Mang's expression, Odin brought out his trump card. You are Thor's friend, and this time it helped him to initially awakening the power of thunder in his body, paving the way for him to become the real god of thunder. Moreover, it also made him put away some arrogance, which is a necessary process as a king. So. Is that so? Looks like I just let Captain Marvel beat up your son. I can give you an artifact that is absolutely suitable for you in the name of King Asgard. What the F***K? Did I hear it right? Sorcerer Supreme accepts apprentices, and the King of Gods sends equipment. Isn't this the standard for the protagonist of Shoer, the Son of Plains? When did the transmigrator Wang Mang have this treatment? Conspiracy. Must be conspiracy. Even if you give me your Gingnur, I won't do Hela for you. Wang Mang's ugly words are up front. There is no free lunch in the world, and it is short-handed to take people and things. He doesn't want to be a tool man for old man Odin for an unknown artifact. My king, someone will never be a slave, nor can I live and eat. Bad old man, very bad. Odin's mouth twitched. This fellow is too direct. Still want Gingnur. This is the king's weapon that symbolizes the kingship of Asgard. What are you talking about in your dreams? Cough cough. Odin coughed a few times and shook his head. No, Ragnarok is Asgard's own business, and it doesn't involve anyone else. This is just a gift, as a thank you. Wang Mang instantly felt that Odin's old face became amiable. That's it, then thank you, your majesty. Finally got the gear. The study of magic is actually similar to cultivating immortals. It is not about finding a place to stay at home. You can become a boss by euphemistically saying that you can practice in seclusion. Various resources are very important, such as equipment. Didn't that long-term disciple of Caecilius at the time almost capsize Wang Mang's sewer by relying on a good equipment? Take a look at several mainstream Avengers in the Marvel universe. Which one has no weapons? Captain has the great shield, Thor has the great hammer, Natalia has Widow's bite, Hawkeye has his compound bow, and Iron Man's armor is originally a weapon. Everyone Hulk has a pair of artifact shorts that can't be broken. Wang Mang said it was very sad. Odin waved his hand. Don't think about the king's weapons. Although there are a few artifacts in the Asgard treasury, they may not be suitable for you. Well, I will inform Nadavi, and according to your requirements, I will create one for you that truly belongs to you. The artifact. Watching Wang Mang walk out of the hall contentedly, Odin sat on the high throne, and suddenly sighed. The whole person became quite depressed. What's the matter, your majesty? A gentle voice sounded, and the entire Asgard would speak to Odin in this tone. Only one person, the goddess, Frigga. Odin shook his head and said in a low voice, I talked to him and then sent out an artifact, but I didn't even get a promise. Mad. If you say something nice, you will die. Frigga smiled. As the wisest person in Asgard, she definitely knew what Odin was talking about. She comforted. No, it's not that he doesn't want to promise, he just doesn't dare to promise. Oh? Odin frowned. Frigg continued. If the other party pats his chest and promises you that Ragnarok's prophecy will be resolved, do you dare to rest assured, your majesty? Of course not. Odin blurted out. Ragnarok, if it's so easy to change, how could it become Asgard's eternal nightmare? Speaking of this, Odin suddenly realized. I see, in fact, when he accepted my kindness, he already expressed his attitude, but he couldn't make any guarantees to me? Frigga nodded with a smile. That's right. But, why is his majesty so optimistic about him? Is it because of the Sorcerer Supreme? Odin kept having a headache about Ragnarok's prophecy, she definitely knew it. It's just that now that he is betting on a magician who is just starting out, he can't help but feel that he is going to the doctor in a hurry. Even if she could see that the other party's ability was very good, Ragnarok's prophecy would not last long, and no matter how good the ability could not be fulfilled, it would be zero after all. Odin shook his head slightly, showing an old fox-like smile. He definitely can. Because it's been proven long ago. Frigg was stunned and expressed dissatisfaction with Odin's behavior of mute. If you knew it earlier, it would have made you depressed for a while. Walking out of the Golden Hall, Wang Mang suddenly sighed. Hey. The hardest thing to pay back is human favor. Odin would be so polite to himself, which he didn't expect. The so-called help Thor grow up. This is a fart reason. If Odin hadn't mentioned it, he would never have thought of this. He was clearly trying to win over himself, or to make himself owe Asgard's favor. Even if he didn't stand up against Hela in the future, he could at least do something within his power. Wang Mang could see the other party's intention, but he did not refuse, because Odin's sincerity was indeed very good. He not only promised to build an artifact for him, but also announced that he was Asgard's most honorable guest, which was unprecedented treatment. Asgard's people are very real, and the weak and distinguished guests are not polite words orally. At least some places that I thought they couldn't enter, now they can. For example, the palace treasury, this time he can freely enter. Wang Mang will never forget Odin's twitching expression when he said he wanted to visit the treasure house. Hey, I don't want to, this is a system requirement, it's a big deal not to take your things. According to the plot of the movie, it is about 20 years before Ragnarok's loud voice. Wang Mang is confident that he will grow to a very high level in these 20 years. A legend in history can fight Thanos in 2 years, my Gandalf template is no worse than him. Besides, even if you can't beat it, will you still not shake people? The big deal is to call Captain Marvel back. Going back 10,000 steps, at least a few of Thor's friends can be saved. In fact, even if this is not the case, if Thor asks for help, Wang Mang will also help. After all, the future Asgard and the Earth are regarded as grasshoppers on the same rope. Dip. Congratulations to the host for completing the check-in location, the treasure house of the palace. Rewards, mandatory equipment. Dip. Congratulations to the host for completing the check-in location, the hidden underground room. Get a reward, Hela favorability 100. Dip. Congratulations to the host for completing the check-in location, Asgard Dungeon. Get the reward, Prison Break Master. In one afternoon, Wang Mang ran to several places, and basically ran all the places where he could sign in. Except for Odin's throne, this one. Mandatory equipment, passive skills, you can ignore the restrictions on the use of any item. Only one item can be used at the same time. Wang Mang remembered that he had played a game before he crossed Dream Westward Journey. The most valuable equipment in it was never the equipment with high attributes, but the equipment with special effects without level restrictions. This means that even a rookie who has just entered the arena can pretend to wear full-level equipment everywhere. And in the Marvel universe, it's also a very affordable skill, like he can now lift Mjolnir if he wants to. Forget it, that's the lifeblood of Thor. Fatty Lay is already miserable enough. Let's not green him. The second sign in reward 100 Gila favorability. Favorability. This is the first time Wang Mang has heard the system say this word, and it has never been said before. Just like Natalia, who is already very attached to Wang Mang, and Carrie, a little spy who has complicated feelings for him, there is no display of favorability. It's normal to think about it, this is a real world, and feelings are very complicated. I can't let you lick it and give you +1, and give you a guide. Dream about it, there is no house for licking dogs in any world. System. What's the situation, Gila? Wang Mang said he was puzzled. Could it be that he wanted to end Ragnarok directly by means of a handsome man? 2 red chicken. But then again, the thighs of Gila Big Sister's head are very thick, so I'm not afraid to hold the purple sweet potato essence. The system poured cold water on him. Hela's current favorability level, 0. What the hell? The system explained. Gila is known as the goddess of death, advocating death, hating all living beings, and all living beings' initial favorability is -100. Grab a grass. Wang Mang couldn't help but swear. Then your reward is for nothing. The system's voice was emotionless. The biggest effect is that when Gila sees the host, he will not immediately feel disgusted, so he will kill the host immediately. I won't kill it immediately, which means to communicate, and I won't kill it if I don't speculate, right? Wang Mang was unable to complain and looked at the third reward. Prison Break Master. Active skills that can pass through all seals and enchantments. In Asgard's dungeon, Thor walks with Wang Mang. Pharaoh, there's nothing to see here, they're all cowards with no ridges. As Thor said, he patted his chest with his hand. A true warrior should die in battle, not become a prisoner. Thor's signature loud voice was heard by most of the prisoners in dungeon, with a humiliated look on his face, but he quickly lowered his head. It's better to die than to live, to be calm for a while. Wang Mang ignored him, walking and looking at the prisoner inside, looking for his target. The two stopped outside a specially made cell. In the cell, there is a beautiful woman with some beautiful brunette hair, who can be called Angel's face and devilish figure. Even Natalia, who is known as the ceiling of the Marvel universe, will not be able to compare to her if she has not grown up. On the woman's mouth, there was a strange ornament, which seemed to be some kind of restraint, preventing her from making a sound. Thor introduced to Wang Mang. This is what I told you. Which Lorelei? A very capable voice sounded. Wang Mang fixed his eyes on it. It was a well-armed, quite heroic female warrior. Thor's childhood sweetheart, Asgard's strongest female warrior, and the goddess of harvest, Sif. Sif glanced at Lorelei, who was in the prison cell, then turned around and said, "This is the most dangerous prisoner in this prison. 600 years ago, she used her unique super ability to bring the 9 kingdoms into catastrophe. She commanded armies, crushed empires, and killed kings. Her voice was so seductive that most men fell for her, and she was controlled by her. For the few who were firm in their minds, her voice added, if you touch it, you can instantly destroy the opponent's defense line. Fortunately, this kind of ability is only valid for men." Sif said, with a disdainful arc on the corner of his mouth. "Oh, this is the inherent weakness of men, and we women do not have this situation." Hey, Thor said in disbelief, "That's not possible, I was able to resist." As Thor spoke, he proudly clapped Marnier in his hand. "Fortunately, I have a meow hammer that women love more." When Lorelei inside heard this, her expression seemed to be only helpful. Back then, she was caught by Sif himself. It stands to reason that she originally has good skills, and with a group of controlling subordinates, she will not be caught so easily. The connection is that when she tries to control Thor, she realizes that the ability she is proud of is not comparable to a hammer. What is this called? Sif also looks a little unnatural. She likes Thor, all Asgard knows. In order to do what she likes, she decided to live a superior life and became a warrior. After hard training and hundreds of years of fighting on the battlefield, she finally became Thor's good brother. Counting the order in Thor's mind, after excluding Loki and Meow Hammer, The reason why she is higher than the 3 warriors of Asgard is because she is more capable of fighting. This is so embarrassing. As everyone knows, Thor is even more embarrassed. I treat you as a brother, and you actually want to sleep with me? What do we mean by being brothers? Isn't it fragrant to drink, fight, and take good care of each other? Wang Mang didn't have time to care about Brother Hammer's life events. He silently walked to the cell and asked through the glass, the thing she talks about is a device that limits her ability? Sif nodded. Yes, she has been carrying this for hundreds of years, and was released together, even across the cell. Hey, what are you doing? Before she could finish her sentence, she saw that Wang Mang had already walked up, and his body was so weird that he passed through the barrier in front of the cell and came to Lorelei's side. Dip. The prison break master is activated. Lorelei in the cell couldn't help but look up at him with a face full of curiosity and hope. Wang Mang magician, although you are your majesty's distinguished guest, I hope you know what you are doing. Sif made a warning sound with a serious face. Wang Mang ignored her, but turned back and asked Thor, if I can restrain her, can Asgard let me take her away? Can. No. Thor's and Sif's voices sounded simultaneously. Sif, the father said, Wang Mang magician's reasonable request, we can do our best to agree. Thor said. A trace of unnaturalness flashed across his face. Who is the real son? Why am I not treated like this? Sif glared at him fiercely. Is this reasonable? As I said, Lorelei's ability is too terrifying, and it will disrupt the 9 realms. Thor patted her shoulder and shook his head. It's okay, only those who are not determined will be tempted. Strong people like us are not afraid of challenges. Sif rolled his eyes, and you are the only one in Juji who is gender male, likes hammer. Just as he was about to speak, Thor leaned over and whispered, Direction, my brother Wang's strength is very average, even if he is controlled, then I will knock him unconscious, and you will be responsible for taking down Lorelei. Hey, I hear you. Wang Mang shouted angrily. Okay, you Golden Lion King, I remember it. Thor smiled shyly, but Sif looked over in surprise. This is a fake prince, right? He can actually use his brain? Under Thor and Sif's gaze, Wang Mang put his hand on Lorelei's face and tore off the restraint device. Whoosh. After finally getting rid of the restraint, Lorelei gasped violently for several minutes like a drowning person, and then turned her head. Phew. This. Human powerhouse, thank you for saving me. Can you tell me why you saved me? No matter what conditions you have, I can promise you. There seems to be a special magic in her voice, which makes people unable to help but indulge in it. Wang Mang said calmly, your ability is very valuable to me, so, I hope you will do things for me. Yes, you are very discerning. Lorelei slowly came to Wang Mang's side, holding his face in his slender hands, and his voice became softer. No one has ever conquered me, you may be the first. I can be your person, in every sense. Oh. Hiss. Wang Mang suddenly changed, and the beautiful woman in front of him became more and more friendly, as if he had been infatuated with his lover for several lifetimes. Drip. Sage mode activated. An icy chill instantly awakened him. Wang Mang's eyes suddenly regained clarity, and he looked at the girl who was still smiling softly in front of him, and suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Damn, if it wasn't for my passive skills, I'm afraid I'd be capsized in the sewer this time. As expected of the Banshee who set off the chaos of the 9 kingdoms, so terrifying. Thor, open the cell, she's already with us. While Wang Mang himself can go straight through the cell, Lorelei can't. No problem. Thor excitedly stepped forward and was stopped by Sif. No, I have to make sure he's not under control. MMP, although everything seems to be normal now, but I didn't see that pig-like elephant you just did. Wang Mang is helpless. I'm normal, there is no problem. Sif insisted. No, everyone controlled by Lorelei feels that they are unique, and they all become her slaves in the end. Sif looked vigilant. To be honest, this man is a bit of a magician as Kamar-Taj. He can withstand the voice of a banshee, which is much better than those licking dogs who can't even hold their hands for a long time. This woman is so vigilant. Lorelei was secretly annoyed, but it didn't matter. She had also heard some rumors after being locked up here for so many years. She knows something about Kamar-Taj's magician. Okay then. Wang Mang shrugged and said helplessly, I think you should understand one thing. Since I can pass through the barrier of the cell without any hindrance, the rune that prohibits teleportation here is also invalid for me. Turning to look at Lorelei. I'm sorry, since they don't believe it, they have to make a name submission. Well, who told you to be dishonest? Lorelei. Wait. What did you say? This script doesn't seem right. Before she could continue to say anything, a golden magic rune appeared on the ground. Thump. What? Wang Mang clapped his hands, and the golden halo on the ground disappeared. Thor and Sif were stunned. What about people? Wang Mang shrugged. Teach her a lesson is punishment for playing tricks on me. Made a good intention to save you from the sea of misery, but actually plotted against me and wanted me to be a licking dog? 30 minutes of free fall, long memory. Thor was stunned for a moment, as if he had met a fellow man, and suddenly laughed. Ha ha ha. I knew you could do it. A real warrior. Dare to face the temptation of the banshee. Come, come. The dinner is about to start, we walk. No problem, as long as you don't drink me. That's definitely not possible. The two of them walked away, leaving Sif messed up in the wind. It's impossible. There is actually a man who can resist Lorelei's temptation. His Royal Highness Thor is because of Mjolnir. What's the matter with that Wang Mang magician? Raising his head, he suddenly saw the appearance of Thor and Wang Mang hooking their shoulders, and then thought of the bad rumor that Thor-Loki was a couple that had been circulating in Asgard for 1,000 years, and shuddered. Is it impossible? Absolutely impossible. At the court banquet held by the Asgard royal family, Wang Mang finally met the legendary Thor's love, Loki, who was second only to Meow Meow Hammer. Wang Mang took a look. Well, he's really handsome, and he's just a little bit worse than me. No wonder Thor can't forget his original intention when he stabbed him in the waist every 3 days. No wonder the future Jane Foster was once ostentatious and became a Marvel series. The most inexistent heroine. Look at what I'm doing. Her Royal Highness the Third Princess. Oh no, it's the third Prince Loki, who felt uncomfortable being stared at by Wang Mang. You're not Thor. Why are you looking at me like that? Wang Mang shook his head with a smirk. It's nothing, I just want to meet the second Prince of Asgard. After all, Thor keeps this name on his lips all day. Thor. When did I put up with Loki? Wang Mang was very keen to see the smile that flashed across Loki's mouth, and soon returned to his English gentleman's demeanor. Mr. Laugh. Let me introduce myself, the second Prince of Asgard, the son of Odin, the god of mischief, Loki. With impeccable etiquette and a warm smile on his face, he looks like a real gentleman in the upper class. Wang Mang also knows that this guy is actually full of bad ideas. He can be called the Marvel version of the gentleman Jianyu Buchun. Anyone who is deceived by his appearance will surely die miserably. After all, not everyone is as resistant as Thor. But this is Asgard's family business. Wang Mang is not in the mood to meddle in his own business, and he clasps his fists with the same politeness. Kamar-Taj Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One Disciple, Wang Mang. Seeing how enthusiastic you guys are talking really makes me sigh. An old voice interrupted Wang Mang and Loki's chat. Odin came with a smiling Thor. Odin glanced at Wang Mang and asked, Listen to Thor, are you planning to kill Lorelei? Take it away and become your follower? Wang Mang nodded. That's right. After so many years, I think Lorelei has already recognized the situation, and that little ambition to engage in the 9 kingdoms is almost gone. Don't worry, I will bring her back to Kamar. Taj stopped her. Well, even if His Majesty doesn't believe me, he should believe my teacher, Ancient One, right? Odin smiled lightly. I definitely believe what Wang Mang magician said. I will order that Lorelei be forgiven for his crimes. After all, more than 600 years of imprisonment is enough. In fact, he didn't care much about Lorelei Odin at all. After all, his strength was no longer affected by mere charm techniques. Even Lorelei, trying to control him is not something that can be done in a short time, and it only takes a second for Odin to solve Lorelei, and one move is enough. Then I will thank your majesty. Wang Mang nodded. Perhaps for the top powerhouses, Lorelei's role is not that big. For example, Thanos. Wang Mang doesn't think that relying on a banshee can control the purple sweet potato essence. Let him find a place to touch the dead thing. However, strong people like Thanos are only a few after all. For most people, the role of this seemingly weak woman is unimaginable. Really Rosie in calamity. The banquet ended very late. Wang Mang could not remember when he returned to the room. He was already unconscious by that time. Thor, an alcoholic, poured Wang Mang a lot of wine with a very bold attitude, and Loki was probably jealous and followed him. Then the 3 Asgard warriors followed suit. Then there was no more. Wang Mang was sent to his residence in a daze, feeling as if he had forgotten something. Wow. This hangover is really uncomfortable. Wang Mang woke up with his head covered when the first ray of sunshine in the morning shone into the room. Wang Mang silently recalled everything that happened last night. He attended Asgard's banquet. At the banquet, he rejected 108 girls who came to invite him to dance. Then he met the third Princess Loki, and then he was killed by Thor, a dead drunk. I got entangled, and while I was irritating myself, I also asked myself to bring him a few tons of 82-year-old Mautai when I came to Asgard next time. Yes, the unit is tons. This bastard is afraid that he is planning to engage in wine pools and meat forests. Wang Mang silently scolded the extravagant life of the Asgard nobles, and then thought of the matter that he asked Odin to forgive Lorelei last night, and Odin agreed very readily. Well, no matter what the old fox Odin has in mind, at least he has a good attitude towards himself. I am also worthy of this newbie, and I don't forget to help her at the banquet. This little girl is still not interested, and she stabs herself in the back as soon as she is free from the bondage. Wait, Lorelei? Wow. The portal opened, and before the figure arrived, the shrill screams had already come. Immediately afterwards, a shaggy female devil descended from the sky. Thump. Forehead. Looking at the poor girl lying on the ground and shivering in front of her, Wang Mang couldn't help feeling a little embarrassed. He originally planned to give her 30 minutes of free fall, but he didn't expect to attend a banquet and was drunk by a group of savages and forgot. Look at the sky, about 10 hours, right? After a second of silence, Wang Mang bent down, patted Lorelei on the head, and was about to say a few words of comfort. No. Don't touch me, you devil, don't. The once glorious banshee Lorelei, now like a cat whose tail was stepped on, let out a shrill scream. Wang Mang. Girl, your words are a bit ambiguous, you say it as if I did something to you. Wang Mang squatted down in front of Lorelei, shook his head and sighed. Look, you said it yourself last night, and you will be mine in the future, so you should fulfill your promise? Lorelei was extremely sad and angry. No, this is impossible. I am the banshee Lorelei, and no one is qualified to be my master. What's more, I like strong knights, not weak magicians. Wang Mang said with a stern face. Weak? Madam, do you have any misunderstanding about magician? What? Lorelei raised her head in confusion. Then, a meteor hammer with a diameter of more than 1 meter flew out of Wang Mang's hand and hit the ground heavily. Boom, cracks appeared on the ground reinforced by magic in an instant, the entire hall shook, and many guards outside the door looked over in confusion. Hey, is this guest destroying the palace? Do you want to stop him? The young soldier asked his companion. The old soldier rolled his eyes at the huge amounts of pit on the ground. You go. Young soldier. For Asgard's honor, even if you can't beat it. Before he could finish speaking, he was hit on the top of his head. Idiot. It was said yesterday that this Midgard broke the floor in the treasury. His Majesty didn't say anything. Are you looking for a curse? What? Leaving aside the reaction of the melon eaters, Lorelei in the hall gulped at Wang Mang's performance. Could it be that after being locked up for so many years, it has not kept up with the times? Are all magicians so violent these days? Magician are all crispy chicken, it's common sense. The wonderful group of Odin's family is purely Asgard's innate physical quality. Even if he learns magic, he still has a strong melee ability. Just like herself, even though she is a witch, her fighting power should not be underestimated if she really wants to fight with people. But the always weak earthlings, those magicians are different. Even the Kamar-Taj magician group that I had vaguely heard about at the beginning, their physical fitness was still at the level of ordinary people, and they could fall to their death by jumping off a building if they were unlucky. The kind of long-range artillery that would only stand in a long range, and lay on the ground to play dead dogs once the enemy got close, was quite disgusting in the famous Asgard, which was a matter of ideology. But the Wang Mang in front of him is really... well, this. Wang Mang magician, I admit that you are indeed different. Lorelei recognized the situation and made a compromise for the time being. It's just that I'm a prisoner of Asgard. If you take me like this, I'm afraid. Wang Mang interrupted her. Don't worry, His Majesty Odin has already announced his pardon for your crimes and will not hunt you down again. Real? You can ask. Odin has issued an order. However, I don't know if it will be taken back. Wang Mang said seemingly indifferently, but he was actually telling her that the pardon order could be withdrawn at any time if she was not obedient. A look of relief flashed across Lorelei's face. God knows how terrified she is of that cold and dark prison cell, and the feeling that she can't make any sound, it has become her nightmare for hundreds of years. Finally, free, Lorelei took a deep breath and looked at Wang Mang. That doesn't seem like freedom. Master, is this Kamar-Taj here? On the square of Kamar-Taj, Lorelei changed into a green robe, and hugged Wang Mang's arms with both hands, his lips almost touching his ears. You. Be serious with me. Wang Mang pulled out his hand in embarrassment and gave her a vicious look. Hell, this woman is too scary. The Sage Mode skill did not trigger, indicating that this girl did not use her super ability, and did all this with her original charm. Obviously my concentration is not that bad. Could it be that I haven't eaten meat for so long, and my heart has become an LSP, right? Giggle. What's the matter? People are the master's people. Lorelei didn't realize it, and hugged Wang Mang's arm again, and squeezed hard. Hee hee. Even if you don't need super ability, I can still conquer you. Many people in the square saw the pair appear. Just kidding. One is the champion of the last magician competition, the disciple of Master Ancient One, and the other is a beautiful woman who even looked at Du Shigang. This is too dazzling. But no one went up to disturb the two. After all, the big bully Wong is famous for being fierce in Kamar-Taj, and the scene of Snoopy being beaten into a sieve by Gatling is vivid in my mind. Fortunately, some people are not afraid. Brother. Senior brother, you're finally back, humming. Senior brother, let me tell you, Who is she? Little junior sister Kli rushed over with open arms. Just when Wang Mang thought a hungry tiger was coming, she suddenly stopped, and her eyes fixed on Lorelei beside her, especially the one who was holding Wang Mang's arm. Posture. Confirmed eyes. This is the enemy of life and death. Lorelei just glanced slightly, then looked away. The little girl's movie, the slag of the Combat Power 5, the turkey and the dog are not worth mentioning. Lorelei decided to fight. She turned to face Wang Mang, and asked in a tone she had never seen before, Master, who is she? Wang Mang endured Carrie's eyes that were about to get angry, and the whole person was not well. I originally thought that the little sister was here to relieve the siege, but now. How can there be a sense of sight in the Asura field? As a time management master, it does not mean that you are scumbag enough, there are many things in it. The most important one is that two girls cannot be in the same frame. And Wang Mang clearly committed this one. Countless people around looked like they were watching the show. Wang Mang didn't have to guess to know that the other party was waiting for the ending of the legendary hatchet. Fortunately, he is not Luo, he is Jinfu. You say that one of you is a little spy with ulterior motives of unknown origin, and the other is a banshee who refuses to accept discipline and tries to turn herself into a master slave and become a master. How can you get the qualifications to participate in the Asura field? Crack pump, two crisp voices sounded, and the two women suddenly became honest. People who eat melons. As expected of the bully Wong, such a beautiful girl is willing to fight, worship and worship. The arrival of Lorelei did not change Wang Mang's daily life. Although he took in a witch with terrifying ability, which made the stubborn Mordu a little worried, it also made Kisilius, who was already unhappy with Wang Mang, further hyped up the Wang Mang threat theory. But Ancient One came forward and set the tone for this matter directly. Magic never distinguishes between good and evil, and there are good and evil people. Sorcerer Supreme's words immediately suppressed all the discussions. A master is a master, and what he says makes sense. Oh, there are actually some changes, that is, the vicious name of the big bully is more confirmed. Although Kamar-Taj has a lot of bald heads, he is not a monk with few desires. On the contrary, many young disciples still have this idea. At this time, Wang Mang has undoubtedly become the target of all people's condemnation. It is absolutely impossible to provoke the big bully Wang, so the disciples had to adopt a roundabout policy. For example, secretly darkened Chen Kang and tried to green him. Your own disciple is domineering and returning to domineering, but there is no reason to control others, right? Other people's girls are not your property. What's wrong with trying to pursue true love? I have to say, Lorelei is really too moist. Even if she didn't deliberately use her ability, she still made a group of magician cubs who have never eaten meat lose their minds. As a result, they found out sadly that this woman was even scarier than Wang Mang. Offended Wang Mang, at most, he was beaten up and hung on a tree for a few days. And this woman is. I vaguely remember the scene where a group of Shi Leji, shirtless, gathered in the square to do radio gymnastics. Hiss. True social death. As expected of the Bully King, such a terrible woman can be subdued. I said, you can't hold back. The teacher has already talked to me. Wang Mang silently glared at Lorelei, who looked innocent. This woman is playing with fire. Wow, although it did not cause any substantial damage, it is too unsightly. Lorelei shrugged. It's none of my business. I just let them exercise more, and they have nowhere to use their energy. Speaking of this, he smiled slyly. Or, Master, do you want people to run away with the little white face? Wang Mang's face darkened. He felt that he really became a scumbag, because he really couldn't accept it. Fortunately, such days did not last long. After all, not everyone has the courage to express performance art in public. What's more, Wang Mang is going out again after a few months in book management at Kamar-Taj. How is it, is this guy honest recently? In Shield's office, Wang Mang asked Nick Fury. I think you can go and see for yourself. I don't know how to describe the black marinated eggs. Okay. Tell Talos, it's time for dry goods. That afternoon, they came to a secret room, where there was a guy who was tied up. The accuser. Ronan. The first time he saw Wang Mang, Ronan, who was like a dead dog, suddenly seemed to be full of anger, and scolded wildly. Despicable human, You never know who you are provoking. You are finished, including your planet, finished. Faced with a bad-mouthed guy, Wang Mang has always had only one response. I hit. Ronan is very angry now, not ordinary. After Carol caught him a few days ago, he turned and threw it to Wang Mang, who temporarily imprisoned him. Later, because of Odin's invitation, he hurried to Asgard again, and brought back a banshee, Lorelei. After half a month, Wang Mang finally remembered this guy. And this half-month was probably the most difficult half-month for Ronan in his life. As the biggest warmonger among the Kree people, Ronan has a very high status, and it is inevitable to look down on a primitive planet like Earth. And now being captured by the Earthlings is undoubtedly a shame in his view. In addition, the days of the past half-month are too painful. Although S.H.I.E.L.D. did not have the habit of abusing captives, Wang Mang let Talos take care of this captive who did not know how many Skrulls he had killed. This guy's mouth is too stinky, let the Skrulls treat him well. So, when Ronan saw Wang Mang at this moment, old and new hatred flooded into his heart and cursed, and then he was beaten. Although Wang Mang is a magician, he is Gandalf's template, and this punch is dizzy. Ronan refused to accept. Fight well. Although this powerful guy doesn't want the weak Earthlings, but he can't kill him, Ronan, also have the backbone. Wang Mang was stunned for a moment, and a second later he punched again. Ji Niang thief, how dare you answer? Boom. This punch was from Qilin's arm, and the whole face almost collapsed with one punch. Seeing that Wang Mang raised his left fist that seemed to be burning with flames again, and a terrifying force that was enough to crack mountains and rocks was condensing, Ronan was so frightened that his heart was broken. Sir, spare your life. Spare your life. Wang Mang shouted. Duh. You are a shabby household. If you are just tough with me, the Saw family will spare you. You are begging me for mercy now, but the Saw family will not spare you. Ouch. Talos' eyelids jumped behind him, and he quickly grabbed Wang Mang. Don't rush to fight, you'll die if you fight again. He wasn't worried about the executioner who slaughtered a lot of his compatriots, but he knew very well that Wang Mang kept Ronan for no purpose as a sandbag, there must be other purposes. This will kill you on impulse. What should I do if I go back to blame myself? Talos is quite aware of Wang Mang's unreasonable behavior. Wang Mang retracted his fist and gave him a good look, he was waiting for this guy to pull him and said. Looking at the fear and resentment in Ronan's eyes, Wang Mang sneered. It seems that you still have the idea of revenge, including Carol. It's really fresh, you still want to take revenge at this level. It seems, do you have any cards? For example, some kind of material that can make people strengthen quickly. Ronan's expression changed greatly. Seeing his expression, Wang Mang knew that he had guessed correctly. Speak out, you can suffer less. Ronan was silent. Even in the entire Carey Empire, only he himself knows about this matter, not even his personal adjutant. Even the subordinate of the big shot who secretly disbanded from him doesn't know. This is his last trump card. Once it is revealed, it will be 100% silenced. When it comes to life, between being beaten up and getting killed, Ronan still knows how to choose. Don't say it. It's okay. You don't need to say it. I didn't intend for you to say it anyway, just to help you recall it. Wang Mang showed a weird smile and looked back at Talos. Do you know why I'm looking for you? Talostan understood at the time, and his body changed for a while, and in the blink of an eye he turned into Ronan's appearance. Ronan's face changed greatly, and he let out a desperate roar, no. With the ability of the Skrulls, Talos, the leader, is naturally the most powerful. As long as he sees the person, he can instantly change into the appearance of this person. His voice is exactly the same, and at the same time, he can obtain the short-term memory of this person. In less than a few seconds, Taros changed back to his original state, with an indescribable shock in his eyes. It turned out to be the corpse of the Celestial Clan. Talos is terrified now. The Celestial Clan has disappeared for countless years, and it is rumored that their strength is no less than the top powerhouses in the universe. Even if the gods are dead, their bodies still contain powerful energy. If their blood is used to soak, it can bring unimaginable power, and the strength of their physical fitness is greatly improved. The remains are the top material. According to Legends collector T1's base, the Void represents the head of a god. According to rumors, when the Celestials appeared in the Nine Realms millions of years ago, Odin was fully armed to fight them. Even Odin, who was wearing the destroyer armor and holding the gun of Eternity Gungnir, only lasted for less than 10 seconds. Although there was a group fight, it also proved the strength of the celestial race. If you let Ronan get this power, hiss. If Wang Mang knew what he was thinking, he would probably laugh at you thinking too much. Ronan in the original book really became stronger after using the god's bloodbath, and even able to withstand the terrifying energy of the power gem for a short time, but he also became stupid, and was finally killed by Xingju's awkward dance. Also poor baby. However, it would be too much to leave such a good thing to Ronan, who was destined to be cold. Treasures of heaven and earth, those with virtue live in them. This thing is related to me, Wang Mang. An unknown remote planet is full of desolation. The standard atmosphere, air and water for human survival, obviously have elements suitable for the survival of all kinds of life, but it is very strange that no life exists.
This reminds Wang Mang of a place in the original book, the Vomir Star Ball, because of the soul gem.
And here, because of some extraordinary existence. A fighter plane with the Asgard logo slowly landed on a plain somewhere, and two figures walked out of the cabin. One is Wang Mang, and the other is Ronan, or Talos in Ronan's skin. It seems that this guy Ronan is not so loyal on the surface, otherwise this place must have been taken over by the Kree army. Wang Mang sighed while looking at a fort not far away. This place is too remote. Even if they knew the location from Ronan's memory, it still took them a week to come here. If it weren't for the high quality of Asgard's fighters, the previous modified aircraft would have fallen apart. Wang Mang thought about letting Lorelei control Ronan to bring him here, but to be honest, he still doesn't dare to trust this woman completely. Someone was rescued on the front foot, and the back foot wanted to turn over to be the master. Such an important thing cannot be easily believed just because the other person is beautiful. Moreover, Lorelei's control is not so stable for people with strong wills, and some orders that are particularly resisted are likely to be rejected. If something goes wrong at a critical moment, it will be troublesome. On the other hand, Taros, whether it is for the safety of his clan or his feud with the Kree, will cooperate with Wang Mang. Talos beside him nodded. That's right, let alone other people, even the soldiers here, no one knows what is in the innermost part of the fort. Ronan will regularly bring a group of experts in for research, but in the end no one came out because they were all silenced. He's planning to swallow the things here. It seems that Ronan's ambitions are bigger than you think. Wang Mang sneered secretly. Don't look at Ronan's cowardice and naivety. His ambition is not small. In the original book, even Thanos dared to make a move. He turned around and asked Talos, how do I get in there? It shouldn't be possible to get in with a face, right? Taros frowned. Our ability can only copy the other party's short-term memory, and it won't work if it's longer. That's easy. Wang Mang said. A portal appeared in his hand, and he pulled out the comatose Ronan, and punched him to wake up. Tell me, what are the procedures for getting into the innermost part of this fortress? What are you? Boom. Another punch knocked him out. Wang Mang turned his head to look at Taros. You change it again, and the content in his mind just now is there. Talos. Sure, is that you? Wang Mang. No, I am a traveler, not sure. This is a battleship, or rather an air fortress. The most powerful spaceships and warships in history, in front of it, are like the difference between clouds and mud. This is not just a warship, it should be called a space fortress, or a small city in the sky. In the incomparably magnificent battleship, a burly figure sat on the high throne. Thanos, a super butcher who has been fascinated by countless races in the universe, has always killed people in the hundreds of millions. At this moment, Thanos has a rare touch of warmth on his face. I hate this location. I know, but I still hope you can sit on it one day. I hate this room even more, and this ship. I know that too. But I hope you will one day understand that balance is the way everything is supposed to be. What do you mean by balance is massacre? No. You made me lose my relatives, and you also ruined my happy life. You killed half of us. The voice became hysterical. It was a child who looked only 5 or 6 years old, but her skin was green, just like the Skrulls. Thanos sighed deeply. Trust me, Gamora, that's just a small price. The universe is limited and resources are limited. If life is not controlled, it will perish. Only I know this truth. Or rather, I'm the only one willing to act. Because. Thanos paused and said solemnly, I have experienced it before. Boom thump, there was a knock on the door. Thanos glanced at the silent Gamora, turned his head and said, come in. The person who entered the door was the magician in the Black Order, the #1 dog-headed sergeant under Thanos, Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw, with an octopus face, reported to Thanos, Master, Supergiant sent a communication, she has the results of the investigation. Oh? Thanos suddenly came to the spirit. Ebony Maw whispered. One of the 3 people on the fighter plane is the leader of the Skrulls, Talos, and the other is Lorelei, the Witch of Asgard. Thanos nodded. The Skrulls? It's just a race that is on the verge of extinction. It's not worth mentioning. I'm afraid he is not qualified to use Asgard's elite spaceship. It seems that another person is in charge. Ebony Maw continued. The other one is a disciple whom Sorcerer Supreme accepted a few months ago, seems to be called Wang Mang. Sorcerer Supreme? Ancient One of Kamar-Taj? Thanos' eyes narrowed suddenly. Yes. Thanos pondered for a while and nodded slowly. The two disciples of Ancient One are far away from her, so there is no need to worry. And this one? With the isolationism of the Asgard people, it is almost impossible for the royal family to lend a car. A novice magician can get them so much attention. That magician is definitely not ordinary. Forehead. Ebony Maw disagreed. Is it so important? Thanos glanced at him, shook his head and said, if I remember correctly, a few months ago, Ronan went to Earth to hunt down the Skrull remnants, right? In the end, this unit almost lost contact. Contact Taros's movements. Must have something to do with this Wongmang magician. This matter must be taken seriously. Never allow a second Ancient One to appear on Earth. As Thanos said, he didn't forget to turn around and tell Gamora. When this magician is solved, let's talk more, and I will let you understand me. Wong Mang has never been a wise man with all his thoughts, and he has missed one thing after all. He borrowed the spaceship from Asgard. Although he used Asgard's sign to scare away most of the interstellar thieves, he also attracted the attention of some people. Thanos, the supervillain, never underestimated the Earth like the other forces. He monitored the movements of the Earth from beginning to end. Similarly, Asgard, who once let him go back when he was robbing Tesseract, is also his vigilant target, and Supergiant, who is best at reconnaissance in the Black Order, has been paying close attention to Asgard from beginning to end. Because of this, the Asgard refugee ship can be blocked just right in the original history, and it is known from the beginning that the reality gem is stored in the void. Wow, what a big mountain, Wong Mang exclaimed. This is actually true. Talos was already stammering at this moment. Although he was already mentally prepared, seeing this scene at this moment still made him tremble. Wong Mang's first reaction was that it was big, just like a small thousand. Rather than a corpse, it is better to say that it is a fragmented wreckage. Even if the terrifying scars are separated by thousands of years, you can feel the energy contained in them. The neck is empty, and the head is missing. Wong Mang thought for a moment, maybe this missing head is the head of the god of nothingness, right? It may have been carved by thousands of years, or it may have been damaged too much at the beginning. This body has already decayed, at least in Wong Mang's view, it is useless. On the other hand, in the small pool the size of the bathtub, the blood of the gods condensed into dark red, exuding heart-pounding energy, proving the existence of this former super powerhouse. In the original book, it was only by relying on the most quintessential blood of the gods that Ronan was able to improve from the physique of an ordinary Kree to a level sufficient to withstand the energy of the power gem. It's just that there seems to be something wrong with the blood of the gods these days. No, there is a problem. If this thing really works, it will definitely lose its mind. Talos immediately saw the problem. No wonder, Ronan has never used it, there must be something wrong with this deceased celestial clan. Wong Mang frowned as well. Staying in Kamar-Taj for the past few months, he definitely didn't go to sleep in the library. On the one hand, he initially learned the magic of mirror space, and on the other hand, he read a lot of related materials. This celestial clan, before dying, had fallen into madness for some unknown reason. Even if it had been dead for countless years, it would still be affected. The blood of the gods, which has condensed energy, can certainly bring about an increase in strength, but it will also be affected by this ferocity. Seriously, it is very likely that he will completely lose his mind and become a beast who only knows how to kill. Ronan in the original book is probably not serious, his IQ has dropped significantly. Talos sighed, but he couldn't use it in front of him. It seemed that he really had no such luck. Very sour. Wong Mang also sighed, not to mention losing his mind. Even if his intelligence decreased, he is magician, not Hulk. However, even if you can't use it now, it doesn't mean you can't use it in the future. Magician's intuition told him that he must have a way to solve the side effects of the blood of the gods. Pieces of cracks like broken glass appeared in front of Wong Mang's eyes, shrouding the pool containing the blood of the gods and disappearing. Mirror space, which he learned after spending more than a month in the Kamar-Taj library. It will be a primer. It is not good for fighting, but it is still possible to store something. Talos couldn't help frowning when he saw his action. Sir, I have no intention of coveting your trophies, but I still want to advise you, it is best not to use the energy in it lightly. Talos is not entirely sour, after all, he can't use it himself. He's just different. Wong Mang used the blood of the gods to become a lunatic, and he turned back to affect the relationship between the Skrulls on Earth. Wong Mang shook his head and smiled. No, I know exactly what I'm doing. I won't take any risks if I'm not completely sure. Said, looking at the huge amounts of wreckage. This trip has more than one harvest. He heard the system beep. Dip. Check-in location detected. The land where the gods fell. Dip. Congratulations to the host for completing the check-in. The land where the gods fell. Get a reward. One-time active skill. Please go to the gods. The system is skinny again. Wang Mang complained fiercely and looked at this skill. The previous rewards, whether they are active skills or passive effects, are permanent, and there is no failure. At most, they are no longer useful with the prompt of their own strength. And this time, a skill that can only be used once appeared. Please God upper body. Get the power of the ancient ultimate powerhouse, and use it skillfully for 10 seconds. After the duration is over, it will bring some special effects. Remarks. Countless years ago, a demigod who fell into madness came to the earth and started devastating destruction. At a critical juncture, a group of the world's ultimate powerhouses formed the prehistoric Avengers, defeated the mad deity, and finally brought it down. Kill. Only 10 seconds? Big pit. Special effects? What is this? System. Unknown, the host contested. Just once in total, you think I'm stupid. Wang Mang turned his head with a dark face. Let's go, you can turn back quickly. As he spoke, his hands slowly gestured, and a golden circle of light was emerging. Boom. Warge. What happened? Inside the huge fortress, violent shaking began, and the roar of artillery shells continued to sound. The newly formed door of dimension instantly dissipated into invisible, and Wang Mang failed to open it again after several attempts. There's a problem with space in this place. A boulder fell. Wang Mang quickly opened his shield and pushed it open. Through the hole in the ceiling, he saw a huge and indescribable terrifying battleship that almost covered the sky. Boom boom boom. At the moment, this behemoth was still firing, and the intensive firepower almost covered a range of hundreds of miles. What is this? A Kree battleship? Talos shouted in horror. MMP. This thing is too terrifying, isn't it? Just such a battleship. Even if the Skrulls in their heyday are all armed, they can't stand it, right? No, the Kree aren't worthy. Wang Mang's face was solemn. It's Thanos. He didn't know why Thanos, the big boss who theoretically only appeared 20 years later, appeared at this time, and he also caught his own trace. It was no longer important. The most important thing is that it is absolutely impossible for this old yin to stage such a big battle for a Talos. He is not worthy. After all, the other party has even considered his own teleportation magic. I am afraid it is the biggest crisis since I crossed. Maybe I will cross again. Huge amounts of tractor beams fell from the sky, accurately shrouding the two of them. I am honored to introduce you to the ride of the great titan, Thanos. Ebony Maw spoke with a very gentlemanly manner, but unfortunately, when he looked at Thanos, the dog-licking face was really nausea. Thanos waved his hand, stood up from the throne, and looked down at the expressionless Wang Mang. Yes, there is only one Wang Mang. I don't know if it's because of the strict adherence to the half of destruction principle, or because Talos simply can't get into his eyes. Thanos ignores him the most. Wang Mang only had time to leave a sentence. Tell Shao Na to buy more bitcoins, and was captured by the tractor beam of the holy place. Dip. Sign in place detected. Holy place number. Drip. Congratulations to the host for completing the sign in. Holy place number. Get the reward. The full level of the Annihilation military sports boxing. Your expression tells me that you know me? Perhaps it was because he felt that the victory was in his hands, but Thanos didn't do it the first time, so he asked with great interest. The overlord of the world. Thanos, the Thanos that no one in the universe knows about. Wang Mang glanced at Thanos and the surrounding Black Order, and kept thinking about making a comeback. No, it's an escape strategy. Not to mention Thanos, at this stage, I can't even beat Black Order, and I'm still fighting a chicken. It is impossible to count on Taros. There are not many ability in the universe of Nuada to bring him back from Thanos. Neither Kamar-Taj nor Asgard can contact him. The only way to ask for help is to find Natalia, who lives in Brick Street, and then Natalia goes to the holy place in New York on the same street to bring the news to Kamar-Taj. However, here is at least 24 hours from the nearest jumping point. The two communicators hidden in the sleeves have been pressed. One of them was Carol's, but the woman was too far away, and it was unknown when she would arrive. The other was left by Thor. That's right, the Thor who was a few days late for the tour last time. Wang Mang sighed, to die for. The Thanos thief actually engaged in a blitzkrieg without even being prepared. Thanos gave him a deep look and shook his head. Magician who just studied for a few months. I don't know why, I have a gut feeling that you will be the biggest obstacle to my future. Wang Mang's heart skipped a beat, but his face still remained unchanged. Oh? Tang Thanos is also afraid at times? Actually afraid of a nobody? Just plan for the worst in advance. Thanos shook his head indifferently. You don't have to be aggressive. Since I took this road, I have not cared about the opinions of others. Sorry, although I am curious about some things about you, but I will not let any possible threat go. Thanos turned around. Kill him. Even though he was extremely confident in himself, Thanos still chose the most straightforward way, kill. This is a villain who doesn't like to talk nonsense. In society, Thanos, there are not many cruel words. Ebony Maw made a random move, and the tiles rose from the ground, turning into thorns and shooting at Wong Mang. Although it seemed like a dead end, Wong Mang did not give up his resistance. He quickly created a shield. Dang dang dang. The shield blocked the spikes, and the sparks shot in all directions. Thanos frowned. It wasn't to Wong Mang, it was to Ebony Maw. Damn. This is your own home base. You actually use this kind of environment-destroying style of play to go back and repair the floor for me. But he can also understand Ebony Maw's thoughts. After all, there is always a fight between magicians of different genres. This guy doesn't have the courage to go to Ancient One, so he will use Wong Mang. Not only Thanos, but several other members of the Black Order also retreated in tacit understanding. Obviously they all knew what Ebony Maw was thinking. Crack clap. 2 steel bars with the thickness of one person were pulled out from the wall, one smashed towards Wong Mang under the influence of psychokinesis, and the other rushed towards Wong Mang like a long dragon. The corners of Thanos' mouth twitched violently. The magic whip was quickly thrown out, one of the bars wrapped around the steel bars, and with a fierce swing, the 2 bars collided in the air. Seeing that Ebony Maw was about to smash something again, Wong Mang was about to move when his feet suddenly sank. Looking down, he saw that the floor had formed a dirt slope, and the solid concrete fixed his feet on the ground. At the same time, it was dark in front of him, and a column more than 1 meter thick was falling down in his direction. Thanos looked at the lobby that was about to be tower defense, and felt that his blood pressure was about to rise. Among Black Order, Ebony Maw may not be the strongest, but he is definitely the most unstoppable. The invisible psychokinesis control, coupled with the smooth hair effect that does not require reading, is undoubtedly a nightmare for most people. A ruthless look appeared in the corners of Wong Mang's eyes, and he violently threw out an energy whip to entangle Ebony Maw, pulling it to him. Even if you die, you have to find a backpad. As a loyal dogleg of Thanos, Ebony Maw is not afraid of death. But he definitely doesn't want to be dragged and buried by a low-level creature in his eyes. The column that was smashed by the head finally turned at an angle. Before he could breathe a sigh of relief, Ebony Maw grabbed Wong Mang and pressed it against the wall. The thick bricks kept flipping over, killing him in the wall. Your ability to conjure tricks is very interesting. Children must like it very much, right? Ebony Maw sneered. Kamar-Taj, Sorcerer Supreme. It's just to deceive the stupid Earthlings. Didn't I kill him like a dead dog? Compared to Doctor Strange from the Infinity War period in the original book, Wong Mang's magic level is a layman, but he has his own advantages, such as boom, crack, for Keelin's arm. Ordinary bricks were as crisp as tofu, and they broke free in an instant and punched Ebony Maw in the chest. Ebony Maw abruptly stepped back several meters and felt a burning pain in his chest. Being grounded by such a low-level creature severely hurt his self-esteem. The ruthless Ebony Maw finally stopped staying behind. The surging psychokinesis enveloped the entire hall. Steel bars, boulders, ruins, and everything that could be used was lifted high. A cold voice spit out from his mouth. It's over. Ended. Thanos and the rest of the Black Order thought the same. Wong Mang showed a sneer. The cow, the ghost, the snake, and the gods are gone. Bang bang bang. Pieces of wreckage lost the control of psychokinesis in an instant, smashed to the ground one after another, and the sky was filled with smoke and dust. At the same time, Wong Mang exploded and rushed in front of Ebony Maw in 2 steps. See clearly, this is magician. Ebony Maw's psychokinesis suddenly failed, and before he could react, he saw Wong Mang rush towards him fiercely. Are all magicians on Earth so rigid these days? Subconsciously, he was about to dodge, and then he rushed to the heel and felt a piercing pain, and he couldn't help but turn his head. A pit bull composed of energy is biting his bare feet. Fighting gas into a dog, so terrifying. What the hell? Ebony Maw kicked his legs subconsciously, but as a result, the dead dog bit his life and didn't let go, and he didn't respond yet. One hand grabbed his neck tightly. As the smoke cleared, Thanos looked at the 2 of them with a livid face, and said solemnly, if you think that holding Ebony Maw will make me give in, then you will regret it. Do not. Wong Mang shook his head. I never thought you would compromise for anyone, just let you see it with your own eyes. Crack. While Corvus Glaive and others were splitting, Ebony Maw's head was pulled out like a radish with a long spine. I am Wong Mang in society, I don't talk much about ruthlessness. Many people think that Thanos is a ruthless killing machine, which is only half true. In fact, Thanos' adopted daughter, Gamora, is absolutely true love, the kind that is almost unreserved. Even Nebula, who has always been abusive, is not without feelings. However, no matter how deep his affection for Gamora is, when the other party affects his great goal, this affection will be abandoned without hesitation, more than anyone else. So, Wang Mang never intended to take hostages or anything. Now that Thanos has determined that he will be a threat to his target, let alone an Ebony Maw, even if the Black Order and Gamora are together, it means giving up and giving up. The reason why he looked at it was purely to disgust this bastard. He was so good at not provoking him, but this fellow actually took the initiative to come to the door, or kill him or bury him. It's the first time to be a human, why let you? The Traversers express that they are not aggrieved by this. Bastard, I will let you be buried with Ebony Maw. Corvus Glaive, the head of the Black Order, gritted his teeth and said. Although the others did not speak, their faces were also ashen. They were not as calm as Thanos. Thanos was expressionless, but judging from the face that kept turning black, purple sweet potato essence. Oh no, black sweet potato essence is now in a rage state. Not only because Wang Mang killed Ebony Maw, but more importantly because of the terrifying growth rate of this human being. With less than a year of magic training, he can kill the old magician Ebony Maw, and it is still under the condition of attribute restraint. Moreover, Wang Mang showed a very high fighting quality in the battle, link after link. This kind of person is often the most likely to defeat the strong by the weak, such as Thanos himself. Kill him at all costs, destroy the soul. Thanos gave an order coldly, and as the words fell, the whole person rushed out first, and in his hand was the divine weapon that had accompanied him for countless years, the Overlord Heavenly Blade. The ferocious pit bull swooped at Thanos viciously, before being cut in half with a knife. Wang Mang sighed, the strength is too bad, he can see that fighting into a horse is actually a very useful skill, but he can't exert much power now, and it is the limit to make a dog. Various devastating attacks came, and Wang Mang took a deep breath. Come on then. Dip. Note. Please God upper body is a one-time skill, please confirm whether to use it. Yes. Many bosses in the game only use their big moves after they have leftover blood. Similarly, many people have hidden any skills that come back and are reluctant to use them, as if they are at a loss if they use them. But Wang Mang doesn't think so. His strength will only get stronger. From this point of view, the more weak you are when you use your trump cards, the better the effect will be. No matter how powerful Wang Zhuang is, he has to fight it out to be called Zhuang. Please God. This is his last trump card, and it is also a trump card that is enough to reverse everything. Dip. Since the host's identity is Kamar-Taj Magician, please God's upper body automatically choose the transformation target. In the next 10 seconds, the host will become the ancient and powerful, Agamotto. Kamar-Taj, the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, is monitoring the trajectory around the Earth in case any outsiders cause damage to the planet. Suddenly, a strong light burst out from her chest. Kamar-Taj's heritage treasure, the Eye of Agamotto, seemed to have lost control, and quickly rushed into the sky and flew in an unknown direction. What happened? Ancient One was instantly moved, and immediately closed his eyes, feeling everything in this world. In the next instant, Ancient One suddenly widened his eyes. This power is the original Sorcerer Supreme. Without the slightest hesitation, a huge amount of portal appeared in front of her instantly.